next to the screen share button. There you go. There it is.
It just takes me a minute to focus in. I get it.
All this technology.
Holy
What did I do before Zoom?
I'm just a sales rep.
You know, I tell you, everybody is just so used to the Zoom thing, and you know, it's like it's just never going to go back to the way it was. I just
No, I don't want it to. This is I'm so much more productive during the day. I mean, I can do so much more. Not trying to drive around and meet people, and then they're late and they got stuck in traffic, and then so much more productive.
And these kind of meetings too, like these meetings, they're instantly, hey, I'll send you a link. You got it. Okay, now let's have a chat. And we're next to each other talking. I mean, it's like, why not? Why do I have to drive somewhere and sit somewhere to do this? I don't, you know,
right.
And like, I sell real estate now, right? I've been selling it for about a year. I mean, I was a mortgage lender from January of 1987 all the way to 2009 or whatever, right? And then we went full-time with the show and all the things we do. And about a year ago, my wife retired from the state of California about 3 years ago or so. And she was like, well, I'm bored and I have a real estate license. So, and my mother's been a broker in my area for 40 years. Like, she just won't quit because like she can't, like people still call her and she's like, well, that's not a lot of work. I just do the paperwork and, you know, like, why not? Right. So my wife started hanging her license with my mom, and you know, we are not by any means setting the world on fire. We are not out there trying to be real estate agents at all, right? You know, we'll say a little something here or there. Or if we're talking to somebody, yeah, give me a call, or, you know, but we still get deals. Like in the past year, we've had like a half a dozen listings and maybe 4 buyers. I've done 10 deals this year so far. And
you do about the same production as my wife.
Yeah, you know, the point I was going to make is that everything we've done since the pandemic started has been on Zoom. Like we're going over the contract on Zoom with our buyers. You know, we still go out and see houses, of course. We have to do that. And that sucks.
You guys have to wear masks and
all that? Gloves, masks, sign and peed form before you even go in, you know, all that kind of stuff. But you know what? The buyers are kind of like, I'm cool with it. You know, So I guess what I was trying to say is just nothing, this isn't going to change. This is going to be the way it is going forward. And people kind of like it. I was talking to a friend of mine. I saw him in the store. He had his mask on. We could tell who we were, even with our masks, of course. And I said something about, man, this whole mask thing. What do you think? He goes, I love it. He goes, I don't like people anyway. He goes, I don't want to catch any of their stuff. I love social distancing. You know, stay away from me. You know, you can talk to me from 6 feet away. I'm cool with it. You know?
I can hear you.
Huh? I can hear you.
I can hear you from 6 feet away, even with a mask on.
Yeah, you know, so I think a lot of people kind of, sort of feel that way. Like, I don't necessarily want to get your germs. You know, I mean, I'm kind of okay with all this. So I don't know, just the whole world is just so crazy and so changed and so different because of all this, but.
So you guys got in the biz as it started to correct, right? Is that when the show came on, a little bit before it started to correct?
So the very first show that was done was me.
I've been watching so long, it scares me.
It was me and my brother who was working I was running a net branch for a large mortgage brokerage up here in Northern California. And I had about 50 or 60 guys. And I was freaking out before the crash because I was like, there's no way this can keep going. There's no way. So I started getting coaching so that I could coach my team when it blew up. I knew it was going to blow up. I just knew it, you know? And so I started getting coaching and I got personal coaching to be just a better originator, even though I've been in it for 20 years, right? But not for that, but for really learning how to coach my people, because at that time they were just order takers. I mean, loans were falling out of the sky. You didn't have to do, it's like today, right? You didn't have to go get them. They just showed up, you know?
And a lot of the people came in and that's what they learned.
That's all they knew. And I had those guys. They were all great technicians, but none of them knew how to originate a deal if it wasn't falling out of the sky. So I got the coaching to try and coach them, right? Like I'll take this coaching material and use it on my guys, because I wasn't necessarily a coach. I was a branch manager, you know, whatever. But so anyway, long and short of it, trying to coach those guys was difficult because my guys were within about a 60-mile radius. They weren't all local, and trying to get everybody to a sales meeting was like impossible. And so, I was frustrated, and one of my associates said, "Hey, do a webinar." And I was like, "What the hell is that?" And this is when they were just kind of coming out. And so I tried a webinar, and it was okay. But I saw you could have a webcam. So I bought a webcam. So I thought, well, at least they could see me, right? Because at the time there was none of this. It was just, you saw the screen. And so, well, if they can see me, then at least it feels a little more intimate. You know what I mean? And when I got the webcam, and this is back in the day, right? This is a long time. YouTube wasn't even bought by Google yet, right? So I saw on there you could create a video and save it to your hard drive. I thought, oh, that's interesting, because they still wouldn't show up to the webinars, right? They would, but not. So, well, I'll just make the damn coaching session and email it to them, and then they can just watch it, right? So that's how it started. And so the first video that I made with my brother was on July 2nd, 2007. Mm-hmm. That was the first one. I made it and I emailed it. It wasn't even on YouTube, and it crashed our servers at our office because it was a big file and everybody wanted to watch it because it was funny. I was playing a jaw harp and singing a song, and it was stupid. My brother's behind me with pieces of paper, flipping them, "Get off your ass, do something, make a call, see a realtor," So that's what was going on. And
we're at quarter till, so that means we're going to start having people pop on slowly.
Well, you're dropping into our chat, which is totally fine. So
it's Gail Kendrick. She's good people.
Good to have you, Gail. So
thank you. Hi, Tony. Hi, everybody.
Hello. Well, we haven't started yet, Gail. You're our first guest. We were just getting set up and chatting. So welcome. It's like you showed up early to the classroom and you're getting your coffee and your pastry and choosing your seat.
That's what she does on the cruise too.
Oh, you go on the cruise. That's fabulous.
Frank, every year we do a cruise and we take as many agents that want to attend, and we go on a 7-day cruise up and down the Mexican Riviera, and you get all 24 hours of your CE credit in one 7-day cruise.
Oh, that's cool.
You get to be drunk through the whole thing.
No.
I've never gone, so what do I know?
Through most of it.
Yes.
In between the CE.
You'll be drinking coffee during the class.
Okay. With gone to see the dolphins.
Oh gosh, you don't get to do that at PAR. Phoenix Realtors.
I was in the Navy for 6 years, right out of high school in the Navy, and I spent a lot of time out at sea. And so, my wife, was like, maybe a cruise. And I'm like,
nope.
Not interested.
No.
I don't care if there's booze on it. I don't care.
And now with the mask, now with the social distancing situation, yeah.
That'd be tough. Well, plus the cruise industry has just had so many problems lately. It's like, ooh.
And this ship is brand new this year. It just launched out of Italy in December, and we were going to be, the 4th or 5th trip, and then all of a sudden, boom, they shut it down.
Not anymore.
So this thing's going to be brand new by the time we get it on October.
Yeah.
Life changed.
Yeah. Everything changed.
Hey, Frank, what are you seeing with regard to, as we were talking about before guests started to arrive, about how this is not going to go back to the way it was before this. Things have changed because we're getting used to this and stuff. I'm so interested in how realtors are going to move the needle on this virtual experience, so that as we go through this and perhaps other things, how, and maybe even just a convenience factor, what you're seeing as far as agents doing, existing virtually, doing business virtually.
Well, obviously a lot of Zooms. Everybody's doing Zooms. I don't know if you're aware of this, but like Zoom.us, before the pandemic, had something like, I don't know, a couple million users or something like that. And then when the pandemic hit, they went to like, I don't know, 100 million users or something crazy, and kind of broke Zoom a little bit. And then not only that, but hackers started jumping in on Zoom, and that's why Zoom now you've got to enable the what do they call it, participants and all that kind of stuff. It's because people were jumping in and hacking meetings and doing naughty things on meetings and all that kind of stuff. But you know what? I see this being the way of the future no matter what now. I think everybody's very used to it. And it, not even so much the the realtor, it's the consumer, right?
Yes.
I mean, this is what the consumer would rather do, because there's a lot of people who, you know, feel like the masks and all that are, you know, a bunch of BS and they don't have to do it. But there's a lot of people who do want it, right? Mm-hmm. And so I think as real estate professionals, we have to default to assume that they want to be protected. We have to default to assume they want to wear masks. They want to wear gloves when they go see the house. They would rather do a Zoom meeting than see you in person. We have to default to that. Then if you find a person who's like, I really can't stand this mask Zoom thing, man, I really want to see, well, okay, you know, then maybe we do something differently. But I think this is the way of the future. One thing this pandemic did do for sure is it made a lot of companies, brokerages, professionals realize that they don't really necessarily need their brick and mortar anymore.
Yeah.
And they can operate very fluid in this environment. DocuSign for signing contracts. You know what I mean? People very, very regularly, you know, more savvy buyers, they'll buy real estate sight unseen. Like they'll buy a house, not even have physically gone to it and buy it, you know, because now the agent can walk through while they're on FaceTime, you know, with them and walk through the property. And these types of, you know, means of communicating are just not only acceptable, but preferred, you know, by a lot of consumers. So I don't see it going back. I just don't. Even if someday they come out and say, it's all over, it's cured, don't worry anymore, go back, right? I just don't see it happening. I think a lot of people are so spooked, you know, about just viruses in general now, right? Just, hey man, what's next? Maybe they fix COVID-19, but what about COVID-20? You know what I mean?
It opened our eyes.
What's that all about?
Our eyes to exactly what global pandemic looks like. I mean, those that have watched the documentaries from 15 years ago already had that, like, no, could this happen? Right. Now all of us live through this period of time are like, holy moly, it can happen.
Right.
And the truth is, if you understand it, of course it's going to happen again.
Of course.
Hopefully we don't go into the situation that we're in currently again, because we'll, you know, now they've done better in Asia because they fought it before. Yeah,
you know, remember, like in the past, before all this happened, if you're ever at an airport and you see people coming over from Asia or whatever, they're always wearing masks. I've seen
I know, I'm like,
they were always wearing masks. They're like, it's just part of life for those guys.
Japan,
you know,
it's the norm.
Yeah, it's the norm. I think it's going to be the norm for us going forward. I mean, okay, say COVID's all better now. So many people still aren't going to trust that. They're going to be like, well, I don't want to get the next thing. You know, let's just keep going like this. It's really weird. So anyway, the other thing too is man, commercial real estate. Oh, yeah, what a rough go for those guys. I mean, we did it. We were like, we do still have an office, but we scaled down dramatically on our space just because we don't need it. We've got, you know, like our tech people and other, you know, some other of our employees. It's just like, they don't have to be sitting here to do their job. They can do it from, and guess what? They prefer it.
They prefer it.
Yeah, you know, they prefer it. Now, you know what we do every day at the National Real Estate Post? Every morning at 8:30. Everybody's just like we're here right now. We go through, what do you got going on today? What do you got going on today? Okay. And then every afternoon at 4 p.m., we circle back up again and have a meeting. And in between, we use Slack. I don't know if you're familiar with what Slack is. Slack's like, it's a way for you, between you and all your employees, like you can just communicate, share files, you know, chat to each other, create little groups of individuals like, I need Jackie and Sabrina and Kian all on this thread. You put them all on there, and it's just super easy and fast, you know, mobile app. And like I said, you can transfer files and do whatever. And it's just been super, super efficient for the team to just do this twice a day, the Zoom thing, and then work on Slack. You know, I think that's being felt across the board, you know, nationwide by many.
So what are we going to do with all this commercial space?
Beats me. That's a damn good question. But I don't own any commercial real estate or anything like that. But I gotta believe that it's taken a toll. So, and this is just me thinking out loud and speculating. I'm betting you could probably get some really good deals on some commercial real estate here. Honestly, like going forward, maybe this year, next year, if people are canceling leases and walking away, and you've got vacant commercial space, maybe you can't afford it anymore as the owner of the space. I think commercial real estate might be a bargain, over the next couple of years. So if any of our realtors dabble in that, that's probably
I know a lot of
probably get some listings.
Guys are looking at them for churches and other things like that. So maybe there'll be something good come out of the other end of that. Who knows?
Who knows? Yeah. I mean, get some listings anyway. So yeah, it's interesting times, and I don't see it ending anytime soon at all.
No, I hate to say the words because I'm sure somebody's going to want to choke me out for saying it, but the new normal is we're there. This is it.
I think so. I think so. I just think so. Even if they let us, here in California, you guys are mostly in Arizona, right?
Uh-huh.
So out here, I don't know what you guys got going on, but they're, you can't get a haircut. Can't get a haircut, right? Look at the gray that I've got going on there.
I know what you're talking about.
I didn't even really realize what I've got going on up there.
We're used to it. Jimmy, you look just like Jimmy Fallon.
Here you go.
Well, your hair looks just like Jimmy Fallon.
Can you guys get a haircut and go inside, or you got to do it outside?
No, we can go inside. Everyone has to wear a mask.
Okay, not in California. You can't go inside and get your haircut.
Well, it's 147 degrees out here,
I know.
Frank.
Yeah. Arizona, bad idea. Yeah. So, but in California,
how'd you die? I was getting a haircut and I died.
Exactly.
Aww.
Yeah, no, so you can't eat inside, no bars, no, all that typical stuff that we had, before, just a drag. Can't, everything's outside. And, you think, oh, it's nice eating outside, but it gets hot in California too.
I know.
It's not nice eating outside when it's, 102.
No.
It sucks. I'm sweating, I don't like to eat like that. So, no, this is the new norm. I think this is the new norm going forward, and we just find ways to take advantage of it. You know what I'm proud of, though? I'll tell everybody what I'm proud of is you could call Brian and I the OG when it comes to video marketing, right? Because we were like the first guys that kind of came on this, the scene, if you will, like who are these guys in this video, And
I remember when you did your Fox interview, and I was like, wow, they've really made it to the big time. They're on Fox.
That was the big time for us. I was impressed with that. Dude, I got to tell you, every Fox interview we did, I was petrified. Every single one. Because it's the most awkward thing. You're sitting, we're in San Francisco, okay, but they're in New York. Oh, you know what I mean? We can't see anything. We just see a camera staring at us. And they put these little earbuds in your ear, and they're not that great, And so you're just really trying to focus and listen to what's going on. And then, of course, Liz Clayman, she's so awesome. She's such a sweetie, and she was so good to us. And, but, then you worry about, well, what might she ask, And I hope I got a dang answer on national television, being touted as a real estate expert, But what I was going to say is what I'm really happy to see is through all this, everybody's gotten so used to this, the Zoom, the video, and all this. Now, so many people, so many professionals, so many real estate agents, so many loan officers, video is just like a main way of them getting the word out or marketing, where that was not the case, 10 years ago.
February.
10 years ago, everybody was petrified. Nobody would do it, right? These days, everybody's so used to this that now it's kind of like, oh, I could make a little video or go live or do something. This is no big deal. So I've been really excited to see that. And I've seen some really neat shows come around,
Now, are you on TikTok?
I'm not. I haven't dove into that. However, I do a lot of work with lab coat agents. I don't know if anybody's familiar with lab coat. They're phenomenal, by the way. And Jeff Fitzer over there, he's one of the main guys at Lab Coat. He's working TikTok. He sees that as, you know what? Today it's a bunch of little kids just like Facebook was.
Yeah.
Just like MySpace
Just like
was.
YouTube.
Right. And just like YouTube, right? But then what happens is business realizes, oh, there's like 1 billion people there. Let's get in there. Okay. So, and they get in there, and, so I don't do TikTok. I'm somewhat familiar with it, but I guarantee you there's a way to get on the ground.
Some of these young kids are making $5,000 and $10,000 a week.
Doesn't that piss you off?
It does.
You know what trips me out? What trips me out is the YouTube millionaire kids, okay, that are like opening a toy. Have you seen these?
Oh,
Where
yes.
they buy a toy,
Uh-huh.
okay, they open the box, they just open it all, and they take it all apart, and then they make it do whatever it does, and they do all these things, and that's it. That's the video. They'll get 50 million views from all the other kids out there that want that toy, and
I can open a toy
with 80 grand that month.
Susan, that's why I wanted you to do this with me today.
Oh, you wanted me to open a toy?
Yeah, I didn't send you the toy, but that was my whole plan.
I got Amazon boxes out front. I'll go get something.
Here
Go
you
take
go.
one from your neighbor.
Amazon boxes. Here's my cleaning
Well, I should let everybody know that we're just kind of chatting right now, everybody. We haven't actually officially started. We just kind of wait for everybody to jump in and get comfortable.
Tony, the time is now 10 o'clock on the dot. And since we are very limited with our guest, I think we get started. Yeah?
Absolutely. Let's
All
do
right,
it.
I'm gonna showcase Tony. I'm going to showcase you, my friend, so that you have the floor and introduce our guest.
Well, first off, good morning, everyone. Thanks for jumping into our show today. As you know, we're in a video Zoom world, and things have changed, and I hate to use the word, but like we had said earlier in our discussion, this is definitely the new norm. So I think we're all getting used to it and starting to understand where our place is and how things actually happen. With that said, I have the joy of having Frank Garay on, who is kind of the godfather. He kind of called himself the OG of video marketing. So we're not just really thanks. I've already had a blast this morning. We haven't even officially got kicked off. I think people are going to have a couple of questions. We're just going to keep it light and have fun like we have been. Susan, you want to kick us off?
Well, I think you did an excellent job there. Let me put a spotlight on our guest. And yes, let's begin. Let's talk real estate.
Okay. Well, I'll just introduce myself. If you don't know who I am, I'm Frank Garay. I'm the co-host of the National Real Estate Post and a partner of Listing Booster and another product called Pre-App 1003. Just a super brief history. The last time we had a crazy market, back in 08, 09, when, we had our recession back then. At that particular time, I was in the mortgage industry for about 20 years or so, 21 years, 22 years, something like that. And I was running a large net branch. And as things were unraveling back then, I just kind of stumbled on making use of a video. Quickly got introduced to YouTube by my brother. YouTube at that time wasn't even bought by Google yet, just so you know. That's how long ago it was. But long and short of it, started doing a daily just video talking about the mortgage industry. And the original premise of the videos that I was doing was trying to coach my loan officers on, how to survive this thing. That's what it was primarily about. But it just kind of morphed into, well, let's talk about some industry news and let's talk about some sales tips. And so my current co-host, Brian Stevens, came on. I think it was in December. The first video I did was July 2nd, 2007. And then I did one every business day after that. So I've been doing them literally every business day, unless it's a holiday or just some weird travel thing comes up or, I'm sick. But me and Brian have been doing a daily video on the mortgage and real estate industry pretty much every single business day for the past 13 years. So, but yeah, it just started to kind of grow and get bigger, and more people got interested in it. And so that's why I'm kidding around saying, yeah, I'm the OG. Me and Brian are the OG because we were kind of the first guys to kind of get out there, and we didn't even know what we were doing. we still don't know what we're doing. I'll be honest. You know,
And they were fun and
way
exciting.
better than
I
us
remember
these
when I
days.
got your first video, somebody sent it to me and said, "Are you watching these guys?" I said, "I'm not." So I started tuning in, and I was done. I was addicted after that. I won't lie.
You know what
How many people listen in or tune in regularly? Do you have that number?
We've got a couple 100,000, you know, double opted in subscribers across the country. We've been averaging about that because people get out of the business, people come into the business, you know, people subscribe and unsubscribe. So we've been averaging a couple 100,000. You know, on a daily basis, it really depends on the content. And just so any of you know, if you're doing video, you don't worry about hitting a home run with every video. You just have to be consistent with it and do it a lot, right? You have to do it a lot because you'll never hit a home run every time. But, you know, a daily show for us, we've had daily shows, there would be only 2,000 views. You know what I mean? It's just because nobody gave a crap about what we were talking about. And that's okay. You know, you're going to hit some foul balls, get some strikes, you know. Then, you know, you'll do a video and you'll get 30,000, 40,000 views on that one. But cumulatively, right, over time, when you're doing video stuff, guys, just so you know, you're building equity with every video is the way to look at it. You're constantly just kind of building equity. And the reason why is because these videos that you put out, keep in mind, you know, they may be here today, gone tomorrow, but they're not really gone. They're still out there. They're on the internet. They're going to get found. Somebody's going to search something. Make sure you put tags or whatever, and anything you do, if you're in Facebook, whatever, somebody's going to search something, you know, and you're going to get found, and you just build up collective equity. So, I mean, since we've been doing it, we've probably had, I couldn't tell you exactly, but I would say, you know, very close to 100 million views. No problem. It's probably more than that. We had one video that really launched us back in the day. This was in 2010, I think, where we talked about the sweetheart deal that One West Bank got from the FDIC when they bought IndyMac's junk, you know, all the crap from IndyMac. That video resonated with the consumer for some reason. And that video on our own proprietary platform at the time had 20 million views on it. And then people were, you know, you can rip them, you can steal the video and put it on your own YouTube thing. We were finding our video on everybody's YouTube. And even on those, there was 500,000, 1 million, 2 million views. It just blew up. Crazy. That really got us on the map. And in fact, that video, the FDIC put out a press release on us on that video saying, "Do not listen to the angry men in the black shirts. It is not true." Oh, no. That is not the deal, right? They put a press release out. And at the time, our mortgage, we worked for a mortgage brokerage. I think we were still swinging loans at the time. And the owners of the brokerage were kind of supporting the show. They freaked out. They were like, "Oh my God, pull that video, you know, edit it, change it." You know, we're like, "No, we're not doing anything," you know? So, but anyway, yeah, so that's who we are. If you're not too familiar with us, you can just go to thenationalrealestatepost.com, which I know that's very long, but that's what it is, thenationalrealestatepost.com. And I'm happy to announce today that we have done we are now have a mobile app. You can see it says NREP right there. It is in the Apple Store, NREP, but you look it up as National Real Estate Post. That's what you would search, National Real Estate Post. And what's really cool about the mobile app is, you know, you'll get the push notification of the shows. But if you feel like, where was the show today, or I didn't see it or whatever, you know, you just click the button. There it is right at the top. You can watch it. Works great. And we did that because, you know, when we started, it was all email. Everything was email. You know what I mean? It's like, you know, when we started, MySpace was the social media, you know, and so we built up an audience of you know, a database of email, you know, and a lot of us who are in the mortgage and real estate space now, I'll go ahead and say it. I am 58 years old, right? If some of you are near me in age, right, then, you know, a lot of us, that's just how we operated, and, you know, and that's kind of still how we operate, right? We kind of still are very email oriented people. And so that's why a lot of our audience will always be email.
Would you rather talk to somebody on the phone or email them?
Right. You know, email. Right. And so anyway, that's why we made the app, was because email delivery, when when you're sending a couple 100,000 out a day, and then you might not just send one time, you might send another thing or another thing. Now you're sending 600,000 emails a day. Let me tell you, we get caught up in all kinds of email drama, you know, our domain is very warmed up, if you will. We're known, you know, but still we'll wind up having Yahoo just cut us off for some reason, you know, or whatever. So that's why we really want to do a push on the mobile app, because you don't have to deal with any of that anymore.
And can you watch the show through the mobile app?
Yeah, that's what it's all about.
Nice.
And it's a great viewing experience.
That beats
it's much better.
And all YouTube and everything else then, for sure.
Oh, it's a much better experience, man. You just go, you see, oh, there it is. Click it, bloop, plays, you're done. You know, if there's a sponsor banner, it's right there. It's just right from your phone. So it's really nice.
So how are things going with the listing booster? I've been looking for a local somebody to kind of partner with and get a preview of it. Maybe share some of that with us.
Okay. Well, we'll share something real quick. I don't want you guys to be bored with a pitch of a product by any means. Right. So we won't do that. But Listing Booster, we realized when we created it, it's a tool for real estate agents, right? And more than that, it's a tool for agents that get listings on a consistent basis. It's Listing Booster. Okay. So you need a listing to make it work. All right. So, and then, you know, since we're all loan officer oriented, the creator of it, me and Brian, since we were always in the mortgage space, and by the way, I am a realtor now, have been for a year, so stick around. But, you know, we thought, well, we'll sell it to loan officers and have them invite realtors in and provide value and develop relationships. And all that's a great idea, except for the fact that it doesn't work. Okay. It just doesn't work. The reason that it doesn't work is because loan officers are just too busy. They're not real estate agents. You know what I mean? They shouldn't be the ones that know how to market a listing. You know what I mean? A real estate agent knows how to market a listing. So we recently, in July, on the 13th of July, actually, now it's completely changed. It's we're no longer a technology provider. Now we are a service provider. So now if you want to participate in Listing Booster, you can participate just as an agent, or you can still be a loan officer, but we do everything. So we're going to make sure all the listings come in. We're going to do all the posting. We even call all the leads. And when we find the leads that are like, yeah, let me get something started, we put them in your calendar. Okay. That's what it is. That's what we've turned it into. And so obviously it costs a little bit more. But that's what we've done.
Let's be honest, realtors don't want to be able to, they want hands off. They want to be able to kind of shoot it and look the other way, where if they have somebody managing it for them, it's going to me, it make it easier and make them stay in it.
Yeah, what we decided is, you know, to really work that product properly. First of all, if you do work the product properly, it's phenomenal. It's incredible what it does, but nobody really works it properly. So we thought, well, we know how to work it properly. It's our product. So we work it properly. So what we are is we become like an assistant. We become a marketing assistant for you, but we do it all. We do everything and just hand you the deal, you know, saying, here, this person wants to talk to you. This person wants to talk to you. That's what we do. So, you know, if you want to learn more about that, just go to Listing Booster. You can fill out a form, but that's not why we were here today, but I appreciate you bringing that up, Tony.
Gratuitous plug, right? I just think all your tools, I mean, and you recently started doing Saturdays with Barry Habib. I mean, how cool is that? I mean, that would be just amazing. I watched those shows.
Yeah, me and Barry go way back. Back in the old days, when me and Brian were just kind of up and coming, Barry was already a superstar. Right. And me and Brian used to kick him in the nads a little bit, you know, just nothing bad, you know, just like, well, we got a theme song. Does Barry have a theme song? No, you know, because we had a theme song for a while, you know, and just fun. But we became such great friends. Me and Barry are extremely close friends. And so I hit him up. I said, you know, on the new National Real Estate Post, on the new website, I said, you got to be on there every week. I want your own thing. And so now we do Saturdays with Barry. You know, and I like it because on Saturday, Barry can talk about what happened last week, but then he can also kind of prognosticate what he sees happening the week coming up. So it's a good show to watch because, you know, it's Saturday and markets are going to open up on Monday. You kind of know what to sort of maybe keep your ear out for. The other thing about watching the National Real Estate Post too, and Barry, or even just me and Brian is we do bring up a lot of great talking points. So if you watch us on a daily basis, if you can get past us being, goofballs or whatever, and, sometimes being a little off candor, on some of our humor, you know what I mean? It's primarily Brian, but Brian has got such a wit. It's just crazy. He writes all the shows. He writes
does he really?
He's got an endless supply of useless knowledge that seems to be very useful on all of our shows, but you'll always get something to talk about. You'll always get something to think about, and
so Frank, what for the group that's here with us today, what would be like a couple of talking points that you think are noteworthy for today?
Well, I would say if you get a chance, just watch today's show. Brian did a great show with COVID and everything, working from home and blah, 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 blah. We're kind of doing shows in a weird way now. Brian will do them or I'll do them. Rarely do we get together and do them now, that kind of a thing. But Brian did a great show today where he pointed out where unemployment is. And it was like, for this lack of having a graph, I'll kind of make my own real fast. Okay. So he was like, he brought up this graph, right? And it kind of went like this. Okay. It kind of went like this. Like here was 2008, 2009, where unemployment kind of went up a little bit. Right. And then it went down, and here's 2020. Okay. Literally, that's the graph. That's how it looks. If you looked up, it like skyrockets straight up. There's no climbing like this. No, it's straight up like this. And the number of people that are unemployed is just record-breaking unemployment right now, right? So the weird thing is you've got just catastrophic unemployment, yet it's the greatest time in the world for some reason to be a real estate agent and a mortgage person. Like, we are just, especially if you're in the mortgage industry, the mortgage guy's been on a gravy train for over 10 years. Okay. But it's like, are you kidding me? Real estate agents. Hey, I sell real estate now. I've been selling for about a year. Just so you know, I do it with my wife. But you know how it is right now. I mean, at least not everywhere, but in a lot of areas, like where I am in Northern California, you can't keep a house that's priced right on the market. Bye.
No, they're gone in a couple of minutes here.
Huh?
They're gone in a couple of minutes out here.
Yeah, I was showing a buyer property last weekend, and we're looking around, and by the time we even want to make an offer, pending. You know what I mean? It's gone.
Escalation clauses.
I'm like, we're making offers. I'm like, well, you better go about 10 grand over just to have a shot. I mean, that's where we are. Like, what? We have record unemployment, yet real estate is hot as a firecracker. Well, we do have lack of inventory, right? So that certainly fuels the flame. And we also have interest rates. Look, my kid is a mortgage broker. He just did a VA streamline refi for me. I just refied 7 months ago. Of course, we waited the 6 months, so there's no early payoff or anything. But I refinanced like 7 months ago at 3.375 or something like that. I just closed on Tuesday. Okay, just record on Tuesday. 2.25. I got 2.25 on my VA loan. So we've got
You're giving it away,
dude. We got these, and I saw how much he made. I was like, you made that much money and got me 2.25. You should have got me a better deal, kid. But it's all good. I did tell him though. I'm never breaking out my credit card if we go to lunch again, though. Just so you know. Okay.
Amen.
It's all on you. Okay. But so we got these record low rates, you got lack of inventory, you got bidding wars, but real estate's kind of hot, right? I mean, in most areas, if you're applying yourself to your profession, you're probably pretty busy. You probably got some stuff going on. So the point that Brian was making today, and I think it's a good point for all of us today, is just to understand that whether you're doing real estate or mortgages, whatever the case may be, nothing's lining up, right? I mean, you've got this crazy unemployment, yet everything's going gangbusters in our industry. It just seems not sustainable. And really what's going on is a lot of things are being propped up, right? So the government's propping everything up. So you've got, PPP loans, you've got the personal stimulus checks that are going on, right? You've got extended unemployment benefits, you've got all these things so even though we have this massive unemployment, right, we still have stuff that the government is continuing to do to kind of stave off that pain, a little bit. And so it's just a really, really weird time. Just having been in the industry since January of 1987, yes, 1987 is when I got in the business. Being in the business this long, you just get gut feelings, and I mean, I had that gut feeling back in 2005, 2006. I started getting coaching so I could coach my people. This is a conversation we had before you guys came on, but I knew something it just couldn't sustain. Yep. And, I think if you're doing well right now and if you're making money, make as much of it as you can, save as much of it as you can. Mm-hmm. Because if it changes, and it will, I don't know when. I mean, me and Brian have said this is going to come crashing down now for years. And it hasn't. So, but someday we'll be right. Okay. And we'll say 5 years ago, we said on this day, and so, we nailed it, right? Called it. I just do the best you can do these days, work hard, get as much in the door as you can, do your best to try and save some, because if it changes, when things crash, how it is, they crash hard.
That's right.
And they crash fast, and all of a sudden we're standing around with our jaws hanging open going, what are we going to do now?
How did we not see this coming?
Right. And it will recover again. It always does. But if you're not prepared for it, you might not be able to make it through the recovery period.
Right.
You might have to bail on the business or get out or try something different or whatever the case may be. So it was just a really good show today. And that Brian did. He made such a great point, that look, man, I know how it is. Having been in mortgage originator that had great markets many times, it just feels like this is just how it is. It's like, this is where we are and this is how it is, but it's not. Mm-hmm. It's kind of, it's kind of false. It is false. It is false. There's a lot of stuff, a lot of things going on around us that are causing it to be this good.
Right.
And an environment really shouldn't be,
You want to open it up to a couple of questions? Looks like I was kind of eyeballing the chat a little bit. Looks like there's a couple of questions in there.
I was noticing this one, Tony, the struggling with the appraisals coming in at value. Are we going to have to experience the catch-up mode again? And we had a couple people that said they wanted to hear the answer to that question as well.
Yeah, I think for sure. In some areas, that's exactly what's going to go on. The values are going to be forced to go up just because people are willing to pay more. I mean, at the end of the day, what's a house worth? It's
whatever buyer's willing to pay for it.
And somebody's willing to sell it for it. An appraisal really doesn't have a lot to do with that unless you've got a loan where that really does matter. But which we're also seeing, like a perfect example. We have a listing. It's in escrow right now. It's supposed to close August 10th. The buyer came in, bid over the asking, right? He's putting $200,000 down, and the loan approval said don't need an appraisal.
Right.
Okay.
Wow, we got an appraisal waiver.
That's happening a lot. You're getting appraisal waivers. And so now what? So now, since I didn't have to have an appraisal, which technically if they would have out and appraised the house, it might not have appraised, right?
Right.
But now we're going to close at this new value. Well, we just set the new value, right? For that area. We just set it. So yeah, there's probably going to be some catch-up mode like before, a little bit in certain areas, but the market is what the market is. The market will drive what the market wants to drive. We know how that is. We all know how that is. Maybe your buyer, unfortunately, was susceptible to the appraisal, but the next buyer that came in wasn't susceptible to the appraisal.
Looks like my buddy Aaron Reed has a question. He's also a big fan. Let's see. He says Barry's the man, which, you get my vote there. You guys do a great job. What are your thoughts about the Quicken IPO?
Is Aaron a loan officer?
Aaron's a loan officer.
Yeah. Well,
He
it
owns
was,
Reed Financial.
Quicken IPO, pretty much inevitable, right? I mean, they're just massive. They're just so crazy. I'm glad this came up because let's just get on the table. So when I spent my 24 years or whatever it was as a mortgage originator, I was a broker, right? I was a mortgage broker. I am a mortgage broker at heart, right? I do have a little percentage of ownership in a small mortgage brokerage in Houston, Texas. And I did spend 3 years at Wells Fargo. Okay. Not to say anything bad, but wasn't for me. So I went back to the brokerage world. And if I were going to originate again today, I would be a mortgage broker, okay? Because I believe in the platform. I believe it's the least expensive way to deliver a product to the market. And I believe you can typically, provide a better rate to the consumer most times, right? That's my belief. So I want to get that out on the table. Now, with respect to Quicken and the IPO, obviously that made a big splash. I think they're looking at 3.3 billion or something is, what it'll initially be. It's a lot of money, but of course, to a lot of mortgage professionals out there, especially mortgage brokers, Quicken can be this, enemy. You know what I mean? Because let's face it, they're everywhere. They're everywhere you go. Quicken's there, right? So, and I think a lot of mortgage brokers will say, well, they're really not my competition. I beat them all the time and all that stuff. And great, awesome, and you do. I'm sure you do. But I just want to say this, is that I think every mortgage broker in the country should really just pause for just 1 minute with respect to Quicken. Just pause, all right? And understand that the owner of Quicken is a guy named Dan Gilbert, all right? And when Dan Gilbert got into the mortgage business, he was an average, everyday mortgage broker. Okay, he didn't work for a bank. He was a mortgage broker, just like every other mortgage broker today. So what you're doing today as a mortgage broker, getting up, going to the office, freaking out, running around like a chicken with your head cut off, trying to get all these deals done, trying to keep things going, that was Dan Gilbert. Understand, he was you. You, okay, are him. But this guy managed to go from being you, who you are today, doing exactly what you are doing today as a mortgage broker. He managed to go from that to running the largest mortgage company in the country. Okay, so for me, I think mortgage brokers should just take a pause and go, instead of hating them, and instead of saying, you're the enemy, and I'll crush you and I'll beat you, maybe some of us should go, well, God dang, how did you do that? What the heck did you do? Because Dan Gilbert, in my opinion, is technically the greatest mortgage broker story in the history of the mortgage business. He was a independent little mortgage broker, just like everybody else, but somehow he found a way to create the largest retail mortgage organization in the country. I would think that we might want to study that,
That's good
because
marketing.
if you asked anybody, would you rather have your production today and running around like a madman and trying to get everything done? Or would you rather be Dan Gilbert today? Okay, right. King of the world, owner of professional sports teams. They own so much stuff that the rocket companies, I mean, they are just like massive. Yeah. But understand, that guy was you. He was you. Wow. So don't always, have that position with Quicken of, I hate their guts, I'll always kill them, they're killing the consumer, they're not good for anybody. And that's fine, but right. Maybe take a pause and just go, but how did that guy do it? Because let me tell you, that guy's not worrying about chasing a pay stub right now. That guy's he's not worried about his mortgage payment. He's not, and he was just like you. He was just a mortgage broker just like you. And so that's my only thing. Gosh darn it, we're running late.
Another one out there?
Maybe one more, then I got to move on to another one. I'm sorry about having to go earlier.
No, that's okay. You wanna pick one, Susan? Question?
Why don't you pick another one from Aaron?
Oh, is there one in there? Okay. Let's see. I don't have my glasses on.
I see it. He's wondering about the GDP shrunk, and thoughts on the housing market as far as in the coming months due to unemployment, which we just talked about, and forbearance filings. And so, I'm certainly not the expert at this stuff. I would lean on the experts, one of those being our great friend Barry. Barry is optimistic with caution, right? Barry is optimistic about housing. He's optimistic about rates with caution, right? Like
I waited when he said to wait for the refi, and when I did, he said go, and I went, and it was still the best rate.
Yeah, because there's a lot of factors at play with the government, et cetera, that are going to help support what we've got going on right now for a while, okay? At some point, will that change? Probably, right? But so, I mean, I know it's kind of a vague answer, but I think that's the best answer that can be given right now. It's optimistic, right? But we have to approach it with caution. Barry often says we can't get too excited. So when we see like record numbers coming out for pending home sales and whatever, housing starts, when we see these record numbers coming out right now, he says it's all good, okay? But don't get too excited, because you know how numbers lag and things lag in the economy. And with this big unemployment anchor out there, right, at some point that could catch up to us and change things. Somebody asked Barry who, probably a real estate agent. Barry Habib, he's a very well-known mortgage market prognosticator.
There you go.
And beyond that, he's a great real estate prognosticator, quasi-economist. I mean, he's a phenomenally, he's a very, very intelligent individual who's been
Maybe
just a great resource to the real estate.
One more question in there, Brian, really quick. Or I'm sorry, Frank. The gal asked, I have a $43K discrepancy right now on a property. Have you known any appraisal adjustments, or is a dispute process? Any tricks of the trade you might be able to share with her?
No, I'm sorry. I wish I could dive into something like that. I'm sorry you have that discrepancy. That's a big one.
Yeah.
That's a big one to overcome. But yeah, I'm sorry. I don't know really any details. I don't know any tricks to, get an appraisal adjustment to make any difference. I'm certainly not an appraiser.
So on the late, Alex Roberts has a question on the late leads. Do you know how we're looking on lates as far as percentages or numbers or anything like that, as far as how many people in California are late, how many people in Arizona are late?
Are you talking about on the mortgage payments?
Yes.
Oh, sorry. No, I don't have that data offhand.
Okay.
I don't. We had spoken about that many shows ago, and boop, boop, out the other ear. I didn't retain that. Sorry. But I would just say, in closing, guys, I would just say this, there's so much going on, and there's a lot of things that can definitely have a very direct impact on anything that we're doing, whether we're mortgage, whether we're real estate. So we have to be cautious. We have to keep our eyes open. We got to stay tuned to the news. I would say stay tuned to us at the National Real Estate Post. And if you go to our website at the National Real Estate Post, it's not just our show. We bring in the mortgage and real estate news from all around the country, from all the news feeds. So it's all there. Stay in tune with what's going on so you can be ready to react if you need to react. Don't get too freaked out about, things that are happening in the technology world with, Zillow and, now they're working with, I forget what home builder it is. They just struck a deal with like the biggest home builder in the country. The name's slipping my mind. But, don't be too concerned about any of that stuff. D.R. Horton, that's who it is. D.R. Horton, they struck. Realtor.com is now offering off, the offer pads and the open doors on Realtor.com. Realtor.com. You know what I mean? But at the end of the day, it just doesn't matter. I mean, this is really a referral business. It really, really is. You certainly can get leads. You can certainly get leads off your listings. You can certainly work those leads and convert them to be your customers. And once you've got them, though, then they become a referral source, right? So it's still a belly-to-belly business. I just say work hard as you can right now. Rack it in if you can. Try to save some if you can. Because it's just a very precarious moment in the real estate world and mortgage world. It's very, very not normal. So,
normal.
So keep that in mind, you know, and do with it what you can.
I think that's some wise advice. Thank you so much, Frank. This has really been fun. And Tony, thank you for setting this up. You know, Frank, Tony is a fanboy from way back.
Awesome. I appreciate it. Very
on
much,
behalf of myself, Susan, and the rest of the sales team at Security Title, we really appreciate you taking the time to come on the show. And definitely a lot of fun, but got to go down in history as my greatest interview ever. So thank you for that.
So the bar is set pretty low.
That's right.
Only one way to go from here.
I've only been doing this 22 years, so.
Thanks so much. And thanks everyone for tuning in.
Thank you, everyone. Yes, thank you.
I'm going to go. We'll see you guys. Thank you so much.
Appreciate you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Tell Jackie I say thank you.
I will.